Okay, we're live. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining today to this special episode of a new learning episode of the webinar series we're hosting for the past 2 months. As always, Luis here helping with the community from Venezuela. Right now, it's very, very hot, super incredibly hot in here. It's 33 degrees Celsius. I don't know that just how does it go to Fahrenheit, but it's super hot and humid. And then as always, I like to know where you guys come from. Irene, again from Kenya. Nice to see you. Welcome. John from Kenya. Abdullahi, welcome. Nuri, you never miss one, Nuri. Nice to see you again. Yeah, you guys know each other. We should hold sometimes some crazy coffee party from all over the world. Today we have two guests. One is Diego. You have seen him before. He's based in Argentina. You know we are all over the world. And we have Anahira, who is joining us also from the Airtm team. She's the the CFO. Sorry, she's the CFO of Airtm. And they will be sharing an interesting topic with us today, which is financial freedom. And we're learning about the vehicles RTM can offer to help us achieve these benefits. And yeah, I see you, Abdul Ali. Yeah, that's saying you hi. And as always, I like to remind the audience about the flow of the webinar, what we're learning today is presented by them. You know, they are the rock stars. You won't see my face that often, lucky for you. But I'm going to be in the background, chatting and helping out as much as I can. And you have to know that they decided to make this Q&A, this question that you have, they decided to make it more dynamic. And despite we have Slido, as always, to collect your questions and keep them organized, Diego is also going to be in the background, chatting and answering your questions live and also helping Anahita manage the questions. So without any further ado, I would like to give you with the awesome Anahita, who was a national team cricket player, if I recall correctly. That's something you're not going to learn on her LinkedIn. That's also you learn after talking to her. And she's going to teach us something really interesting today. So Anahita, it's all yours. I'm going to be in the background, okay?
Perfect. Thank you so much, Lewis, and everyone at the Populi team for having us. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
Perfect. Perfect. So yes, everyone, welcome here. Thank you so much for being here. So my name is Anahita Aurora, and as Lewis mentioned, I'm the Chief Financial Officer at Airtm. So what is Airtm? We're a digital wallet that helps freelancers, remote workers, and gig economy professionals like you guys get paid across borders quickly, safely, and fairly. So whether you guys are working with Populi on any task, annotation, transcription, research, I know how complex global payments can be. And so you've probably experienced like long delays, high fees, or even like part of losing your income to currency fluctuations. And that's why we're here today to talk about stablecoins. So in the next 45 minutes, I'm going to break down what stablecoins are, how they work, and why they matter today, how they're becoming much more mainstream and really reshaping the global economy and becoming almost as big as GDP of many big countries. So also, how is it different from traditional payments? What's its benefit? How can it unlock financial freedom? And then I'll quickly touch on how ATM works and what benefit it has to offer and how you can get started. And then Q&A will reserve some time at the end, but you guys are welcome to pepper your questions in, and between me and Diego, we'll tackle it if it's pertinent to the section I'm presenting, or I'll tackle it as I talk along and make sure your questions are answered. But of course, at the end, you're welcome to jump in as well. So without further ado, let's start with the basics. If you can go to, perfect slide. So what are stablecoins? The way it's a type of cryptocurrency, but it's not like any other popular Bitcoins or Ethereum. So the way I like to think about it is that what makes stable coins stable is the fact that it's pegged. Or another way to think about it is if you have a jet ski tied to a boat, all other jet skis are going up and down like Bitcoin and Ethereum. This guy is stuck to a boat. And so it goes where the boat goes. And in that way, it's stable. And this way, the main ones, USDC and USDT, they're pegged to the US dollar. Or another way, they're tied to that boat of US dollar. So it doesn't vary, it doesn't go as crazy as some of the other cryptocurrencies. So and usually there are two benefits, right? One, it's stable. That's why it's stable coin. So and why? Because think of it as it's a digital dollar, right? So it's stable because it's not going to fluctuate with currency fluctuations if you get paid in US dollar or in your normal currency every day, like your local currency. There's so much inflation in a lot of these countries, right? Like I saw folks from Nigeria, Argentina, where Diego is. There's a lot of inflation. You could earn $100 one day, and in like 3 or 4 months, it's worth like less than $50. So with stable coins, it's a digital dollar. And it's another way to, sort of have it, because it's pegged to the US dollar, it maintains it's basically US dollar. It doesn't drop because of inflation. And that way it's pegged. And then the other thing is it's not as fluctuating as other cryptocurrencies. So those are the two big benefits: stability and a hedge against inflation and currency controls, right? Because in many countries, you cannot hold more than a lot of US dollars. So USDC is issued by Circle. Circle is, think of it as a mint or a US government equivalent or any other central bank. This is a private company that is one-to-one, has a backing or real assets or reserves that back a stable coin. So they put, say, $1 in their kitty, in their reserves, and then they float another $1 USDC out in the world. And that's how they're able to maintain a peg. Same thing with USDT. It's run by Tether, another very big firm, and they tend to be regulated institutions where you have auditors that go and check their reserves on a frequent basis to build trust. Like any currency, the biggest thing that you have to build is trust. So how do you trust this? Hey, I have $1 here. People come and audit it, make sure you have a $1 Tether or Circle, have it in reserves, and then they're floating that out in the world, and you can use it everywhere you go. Like the digital dollar is much more useful for everyday transactions like dollar is versus, say, a Bitcoin or an Ethereum, right? So stable coins are great that way because you can use them on a daily basis, just like a US dollar. That you bypass currency controls. It's a hedge against inflation, and it also runs on blockchain, right? So it's taking those benefits. So that, think of that jet ski that's being tied to the boat. That rope is a blockchain, and it can be many blockchains. It's not just USDC can run on multiple blockchains. So that's the beauty of it. So you're taking the benefits and taking away the risks of other cryptocurrencies in stablecoin. And that's part of the reason why you're seeing such a widespread adoption of it, So, so I talked about, they're backed by reserves. So that's the trust factor. Like blockchain, stablecoins are able to get a lot of speed, and then we'll come to that, but it's lower fees as well, because again, it happens very quickly in minutes, whereas a lot of other payment methods, traditional ones, are much more, take a long time. So, since we're still on stable coins, what are some other types while we're discussing this? There's so these ones, USDC and USDT, are fiat collateralized stablecoin. Fiat just means like regular currency, like US dollar, euros.
Everybody,
yeah. Can you guys hear me okay still?
Yes, I can hear you perfectly.
Perfect. So that's fiat collateralized stablecoin, right? There's also other kinds of stablecoins, because stablecoin is a very general word. There's crypto collateralized stablecoins. That means instead of being backed by this reserve of, US dollars and short-term government bonds, crypto collateralized means it's backed by other cryptocurrencies. So, and so on the back end, if there's crypto, that tends to be more volatile. So crypto collateralized ones, you need a lot more crypto to be able to float that one equivalent on the stablecoin world. just because there's more volatility. And then there's a third type that's algorithmic, which is, basically computer systems through virtual algorithms maintaining supply and demand. So that's how they maintain their peg or the tying of the stable coin with the back end. So in general, fiat-backed stable coins like USDC and USDT, the fiat ones, they're the two biggest ones, and they're the most stable, easiest to use for payments. And that's what we at Airtm typically, like, we support USDC fundamentally, but a bunch of others as well. So I'll go through what we offer. And then, that way we're able to maintain like reliability, predictability because of these stable coins. So while Bitcoin could be 100,000 one day, 60,000, 120,000, USDC will always be worth $1. So why does this matter for you guys? As I mentioned, like if you're in Argentina, you earn $100 today, you want it to be worth $100 tomorrow. You don't want inflation to eat that. You can leave it there. You can come back to it in 6 months. It'll still be around that much because US dollar, which is the underlying currency, broadly maintains that value. You also want to avoid the volatility of crypto and then the erosion caused by inflation. So in short, let me summarize this slide. Stable coins are like digital dollars, right? But they offer speed and borderless convenience of crypto, but the stability of traditional money, right? So and for you guys, you're transacting, you're not investing, although you can. And so you want a fast global currency that doesn't lose its value while it's sitting in your account. So that's why I think for freelance workers, stable coins are perfect. And it eliminates bank delays, currency risk, high fees. And at the end of the day, it gives you that financial freedom to be able to, be secure. Your money is what you earned, and it's still maintaining value over time. So we can go to the next slide. So generally, a few years ago, well before I joined ATM, it was not as mainstream. But now, it's become, everybody's talking about stable coins. This morning, I was reading an article that 90% of leaders in North America think stable coins and crypto are going to have a massive impact in the business world if it isn't already. So in 2023, 2.3 trillion in real world stable coins, that was the amount. $2.3 million in real-time payments and remittances were powered by stablecoin. And that's 1/10 of US economy broadly, and this was in 2023. And it's been moving, it's growing fast. It's growing by 17% every year. So it's significantly bigger than that today. And it's starting to catch up with Visas and MasterCards of the world. In fact, even everyone is thinking about stable coins at this point, because again, they get rid of some of the benefit. They take the benefits of blockchain and get rid of the risks. So now it's a happy medium, which mainstream can adopt and stomach, frankly. So, so in terms of costs, sending money, let's talk about that. So sending money through traditional payment systems is expensive, right? On average, if you send $200, it costs 6.35% in fees. And that adds to, from a macro perspective, that's adding like $54 billion globally every year in costs, just in remittances. So if you compare that to stable coins, where fees range from 0.5% to 3%, so that's less than half to like 1/12. Those costs are going down because of this new technology, and everybody is having to catch up, including the banks. In the US, we have this big new bill that just came out a couple of months ago called the Genius Act. And, in the US, we were a little bit skittish on the fence, but now with this bill, there's a move towards becoming even more mainstream, because now there's less confusion and companies know, like, now there's laws coming around, government is starting to back it as well in terms of, passing this act. And that gives clarity to a lot of institutions in terms of how to, conduct themselves, which helps in mass adoption. So people are less afraid to adopt it now, more and more with every passing month and year. Bank accounts are being opened. It's becoming much more mainstream is the point. And in 2023, 20% of Visa's volume and 25% of MasterCard's volume, once you take out trading activity, It was stablecoins processed. And, this is still relatively new. So it's like the adoption curve is huge. It's like an S curve and it's only growing. So they say in the next 5 years, analysts think it could reach $3 trillion. And then, so the takeaway is simple. It's becoming mainstream. And for you guys, it's faster, cheaper, and a fair way to get paid. And most importantly, you can keep what you earn as the value gets upheld at lower fees. So next slide, please. Wonderful, yeah. So let's compare, let's dive in a little bit, right? Let's compare how you're getting paid now with how you could be getting paid by stablecoins. So if you think about, generally bank transfers, so let's look at bank transfers. Fees tend to be high. They tend to be anywhere between $10 to $50 plus in wires. They take 2 to 5 business days. And then there's currency conversion fees. So there's markups, there's hidden fees, the poor rates, right? So what got better over time, as was the next generation, if you will, is the online payments, right? Online payment platforms. We all have, various things. We use Zelle in the US, UPI systems in India. We use, M-Pesa, things like that in Kenya, what have you not. So these online payments fees are medium. They're not as bad as traditional banks. It's 3 to 10%. Speeds are much better, of course. Anywhere like UPI, I know is even faster. It's minutes. But in a lot of other places, it's 1 to 2 days. And then hidden fees are like the hidden fees, 3 to 5% markups. But with stable coins, especially when you're getting paid internationally. So this is where, you guys, for freelance workers, as you work globally, stable coins are such a great option because even for international remittances equivalent, if you will, stablecoin fees are very low. They're less than 1%, right? And it's within minutes, if not seconds, sometimes. And then fees are very transparent. You just see it right there, what it is. So compared to traditional methods, you don't really need, it costs lesser. You can move it much faster. And then globally, there's not this bank account opening process. You don't really need a bank. Even in online payment systems, you'd actually go through and make a big account. It's clunky. Here, you guys just better currency conversion, fast, and just move quickly across borders. It's global. It's truly global. So that's what I really love about stable coins, and that's part of the reason I was so drawn to Airtm, because it's truly financially empowering folks in various parts of the world, without charging the kind of fees that a lot of other competitors do. And that's why you're sort of, it's unlocking financial freedom and financially empowering people in its mission. So let's go to the next slide, because just to give you a quick, idea of, so let me quickly walk through, how we should think about, how you guys are, when you guys say Populi sends you $100, right? So you're using an online payment platform such as Payoneer, and you could see only $90 after fees and conversion, right? So you see the hidden costs sometimes, like, Payoneer, there's no conversion fee, but because of bad FX rates, you end up getting instead of $100, you get $90. And so with a bank transfer, you would have to wait 3 days and get $15 in wire fees. But with stable coins, you could get $99.5 in your wallet in under 10 minutes. So this is just the details around just delineating with an example of what the delta could be. And so, and you pay less than 1% with Airtm. So over time, that adds up, right? Because here payments are instant, they're transparent and low, you don't need a bank account. So in that sense, coming back to that financial independence piece, that's what we're very proud to do. I think we can go to the next slide now. Yes. Thank you. So just as you guys look at this slide, these are real world people. These are real world examples of folks, freelancers that are experiencing financial freedom thanks to stablecoins. So there's Maria from the Philippines. She works on transcription projects, and her PayPal payment took 3 to 5 days. She lost around 10% in fees, 10% in fees and exchange rates. And now she gets paid in USDC, withdraws to Gcash or her bank account in under 1 hour. So that's the kind of speed that stablecoins can offer. Ravi from India. So he's a QA tester. Ravi was losing $20 every time he got paid $200 by traditional platforms. With stablecoins, he now pays less than $1 in fees and always gets the full value he earned, because you're literally out of the $200, you're losing only $1. You really keep that $1.99. Liz from Argentina, that's another story. She used to watch her money lose value week after week because of inflation, right? And now she holds USDC and only converts to pesos when you need it. Because, as I said, in Argentina, we know the inflation is so high. So she's able to preserve the value of her hard work by keeping her money in Liz wallets. Tolu from Nigeria didn't have a bank account. He receives USDT and withdraws to mobile money. He now has a functioning financial life and the ability to save and spend independently. And then Ali from Turkey, he holds his freelance income in stablecoins during periods of currency crashes. He was able to buy a new laptop because he didn't lose value during those inflationary spikes that you see in a lot of developing world. So these are just some real world examples of folks that use stablecoins. And essentially, you know, the benefits are in a nutshell. You protect from inflation. You know, it's an alternate banking alternative to your phone. You don't pay as much fee, and it's faster. So let's move to the next slide.
I felt really identified with the Argentinian example, because that person could have easily been me, trying to get as much USDC as possible, because the Argentinian inflation was ramping high.
Yeah, we actually have a lot of customers in Argentina for that reason. But you see the use case. I think somebody in the comment is saying it's very use case dependent. You know, globally the environment is different in every country. In Argentina, for sure, the wealth preservation use case is so big. In Brazil, yes, we have folks in Brazil as well as our user base. But yes, fees are high, and exactly. So in comparison to that, stablecoin fees are low. So between these different benefits, it's a different use case for a different geography, and fees tends to be a big one there too. And speed in a lot of other countries, like in Venezuela, where Lewis is, I know for a fact that people love Airtm because of the speed. You just get money very quickly in minutes in your hands. So
yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Should we move on to the next slide?
Yeah, let's go to the next slide. Are there any questions on the so far on the macro thing? Otherwise, I'll jump into, you know, what e-wallets are and start going a little bit micro.
Yeah, there are 3 questions in the Slido widget. If you want to go through them right now.
Let's do it after the e-wallet. Before I start, after the next slide, let's take a couple of questions, and then I'll go into the Airtm specific piece. How about that?
Okay.
Because this will be the broader general thing. So let's quickly go through what are e-wallets, right? And then I'll take questions. So far we've covered stable coins and why we should use them. So let's talk about the how now. So basically, to receive and manage stable coins, you need an e-wallet. It's a digital platform where you can store, send, convert, and spend your funds safely. So think of it as a global bank account on your phone, but without the bureaucracy or limitations of traditional banking. And Airtm, for example, is an e-wallet, and it was designed specifically for freelancers and gig workers, and it supports stable coins like USDC and USDT. Lets you convert them instantly to your local currency and connects with a local bank account and payment methods in over 190 countries. So, as we've seen people globally, we have Airtm in all these places: Kenya, Nigeria, Brazil, Argentina, Venezuela, India, what have you. And it's built for your needs. And, you can use in Populi, you can use Airtm to receive your fees and payments and payouts from Populi. So that's sort of, again, feel free to use, we'll walk through Airtm and how it works in the right next chapter or section, if you will. But in short, it's a bank account on your phone that opens quickly and moves money fast. So with this, before I jump into Airtm specifics, let's pause and take a couple of questions.
I'm going to stop presenting now. And you have 3 questions. So question number 1 is from Irene or Irene, I don't know how it is pronounced. It says, are stablecoins able to be mined just like Bitcoins? And 2, how do you compare the future of stablecoins with Bitcoins in terms of investment preference and global acceptance?
Okay, so first thing is mining. No, you do not mine stablecoins because it's pegged, right? That's the whole point. Bitcoin and Ethereum and all those guys work very differently. Stable coins are basically, think of, as I said, jet ski tied to a boat. It's essentially these 2 companies, Circle and Tether, the USDC and USDT, they issue them, right? So they think of it as my pocket. Like I'm Circle, I put $1 US bill in my pocket, which is Circle and Tether. They put that in the pocket, and then I give you a digital like coin. It's like I have $1 now. I issue this coin. So Circle and Tether issue that coin like the mint does in every country, whether that's Reserve Bank of India or the U.S. Fed or the Central Banking Authority. They're the private central bank, and they float it into the ether. And then people can trade that. It's always meant to maintain 1 USD to 1 USDC or 1 USDT to $1. It's pegged, so it'll maintain its value to 1 US dollar. It's a digital dollar in simple words that's backed by folks. And then the other external third-party organizations that come and check, make sure you still have that dollar in your pocket, And if you put $2 coins out there, you better stuff another dollar in your pocket. That way, you're not just saying, oh, I'm just issuing for free. It's backed, it's pegged. And that's how you maintain trust, if that's helpful. Now, the second question was, what was the second question?
How do you compare the future of stable coins with Bitcoins, although Bitcoins are not technically stable coins, in terms of investment preference and global acceptance?
So I can't offer investment advice here, but in generally speaking, they're 2 very different mechanisms. In vehicles, if you will. Stable coins are much more for everyday payments. They're meant to be for typically you can invest in anything you choose to. I could invest in my shoes, or people invest in watches. You could really invest in anything. Bitcoin and Ethereum are a whole different, they're just more volatile. The only thing I can tell you is, you could make a lot more money. It could drop and you could lose your shirt on it. Both in the Bitcoin, Ethereum, those kind of cryptocurrencies. And that's up to your risk profile, how you want to play that. Stable coins are meant to be stable. And the part of the reason why the mainstream appeal is such a big appeal for stable coins is because they're backed, they're audited, and they maintain value. So if you're looking to maintain value for somebody who's losing money to inflation, just maintaining value is a great investment. You know what I mean? Exactly. Abdullah says stablecoins are a lifesaver, especially in a very high inflationary environment. So that's an investment if you just want to maintain value. That's also, it's not dropping in value as long as USD, the underlying reserves, maintain their value. Just to be fair, USDC, USDT can get depegged sometimes, but it's rare, doesn't happen often. And, it's just once in a blue moon, and it just comes back very quickly as soon as they correct for it ASAP. So nothing is without risks, but stable coins are a little bit more stable a lot more stable than the cryptos. Next question, please.
Perfect. So we'll take one more question because I see that there are more questions that are regarding how to actually invest in stable coins. And that is actually what we're going to be showing later on. So we'll take this one more question. And then I think most of these answers will be, answered by the presentation itself. So this question is from Abdullahi. He's asking, how can stablecoins help people in emerging markets gain access to dollars and cross-border payments despite unstable local currencies?
Great question. I mean, that's fundamentally the beauty of stablecoins, and that's, you just hit on the crux of it. So in emerging markets, basically this is digital dollar. And it is, you don't need to get access to US dollar, because by having a USDC or USDT, you have access to the digital dollar, because on the back end, these companies have US dollars stashed away. So by having these USDC and USDT in your wallets, you basically have US dollar equivalent. And you can use it for transactions. Like the whole point of, like, why is US dollar, why does it have that exorbitant privilege, fundamentally, philosophically? It's because it's accepted everywhere. During World War II, like, US helped rebuild a lot of the world and financed it, right? So that's part of the reason why US dollar is broadly accepted as a currency. I mean, this is history of finance, but it's accepted in a lot of different places. And that's what stablecoins are trying to do. They're trying to become ubiquitous. That means accepted everywhere, and and hold store of value. Okay, let's.
Perfect.
Hopefully.
Yeah, so we can go back to the presentation, and I think many questions regarding how to use stable coins, how to create an account, those will all be answered. So let me share my screen once again, and let's get straight to it. Give me a second, and there we go. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes, perfect.
Perfect.
Now, my favorite topic: how do you get started with Airtm? This is our website. So you just have to, go to our website. And so Airtm fundamentally, so let me give you a quick background. We were designed specifically for freelancers and gig workers, right? And it's a great example of an e-wallet that we just talked about. So we typically support USDC, USDT, and just to reiterate, we're in 190 countries, and we allow you to convert instantly to your local currency and connect you to local bank accounts and payment methods, all in one platform. So it's a very powerful platform. We've been around for over 10 years now, or around 10 years. We just celebrated our 10-year anniversary. And you can use Airtm to receive payouts from Populii. So you can receive stablecoin payments from clients or platforms, right? You can convert it to and from local currencies in 990 countries, withdraw to over 500 payment methods, use peer-to-peer transactions to get the best rates. You can hold funds safely in USDC or USDT to protect against inflation. And then you can invest in interest-generating liquidity pools. And this is available in some countries. So these are some, high-level features that we offer. And just to make you guys understand, we're also very particular about being fully compliant with international Know Your Client or KYC and anti-money laundering or AML standards. So we have a compliance team. We really look into, our fraud rates are very, very minimal to negligible, which is very rare because we just are so on top of it. And we're supported by leading global stablecoin providers. And our edge is that we work in regions where even traditional banking doesn't. So we're phenomenal with that last mile, and because we just have a phenomenal P2P, peer-to-peer network. So whether you're managing your cash flow, saving for the future, or protecting yourself from inflation, Airtm helps you get payment and basically it's an opportunity to get financially empowered, right? So let's quickly go through. Now that you're on the page, I'll walk you through these examples, and then Diego, feel free to chime in. But basically, you go to this app.airtm.com invite, right? And then
to create an account. Yeah, that's right.
Right. So once you get there, you have to verify your ID, and it's as I said, we take our security very seriously, so it's quick and secure. You have to verify it, and that helps with the two-factor authentication, that kind of stuff. Then you add your Airtm wallet address to Populii. So we can go to the next slide. Yeah. So this is the Populii interface. You go to the payments tab on the rightmost side, right here, right? And then you put your recipient country. So please check your account status at Airtm. So you can, that'll show up. You put your recipient country. You put your payment type as Airtm, just right here. And then you have to, once you've verified your account, it'll flip over to, is your account verified? It is. So once you add your Airtm wallet address to Populii, you just have to sign in, as I said. In the profile section, we went through that. AirTM.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So it's
Perfect.
going
That's
to
it.
signing into Populi, going to your profile section. Then there's this payment tab, and then you just have to select the Airtm, and it's going to ask you for your Airtm email address. As Anahita said, it's very important to type in your correct email address, that the one that you use to sign in and to create an account on Airtm, and just click on save. It's as easy as that, and from then on, all payouts will be done directly to your Airtm account. So it's a very simple process. And afterwards, you just start receiving payments in USDC. And there are many things that you can also do with Airtm, as Anahita said. There is one person asking regarding investments. Anahita, I don't know if you want to answer that question regarding investments.
What is the question? I apologize.
I think the one person was asking how you can invest
Um,
in Airtm.
just like this, you can open like well, investment is a loaded word, but you can open up your ATM account, right? And you can, whether when you do a job for somebody else abroad, you get paid. I mean, Populi is a perfect example. So as you get paid with Populi, you can just you can either keep your money here. That's one way to preserve wealth. And then in some countries, we've also introduced a product where you have high yield saving, like it's a high yield account. So you're able to generate some yield. It's live only in a few countries right now. But over time, as we get positive feedback, we learn, make sure we just try to be responsible and safe with everything. So once we've worked it out and it's working smoothly, we'll scale responsibly and slowly. So stay tuned. That's going to happen, where money sitting in your account can also earn a yield. So we're working on that.
Excellent, thank you. And
I think Diego froze here.
can you?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, perfect. So we're just at the end of the presentation. I guess this is just a summary of all the things that you will benefit from by using stablecoins. So I think that this is the end, and we can follow up with more questions from the audience. I see. Let me see which questions we can answer. How can I invest in stablecoins? Can be mined again. Hira is asking, what do you think is the biggest barrier to the adoption of stablecoins? I think this is a very interesting question.
Yeah. So I think one of the things, and nothing is without risk. Carrying cash is without risk, is not without risk. Like you could carrying a bunch of suitcase full of cash, and somebody could jump on you and like steal money from you, right? And it's a problem in some parts of the world where security is not the highest. So I would say similar issues with stable coins, like any other currency. A lot of the times, so what would be a barrier to adoption? One is that, hey, it's on blockchain, and a lot of people, especially, some in the older generation, but some folks not, they're just not as comfortable with computer usage or blockchain. They just fundamentally distrust it. And that is what I hear a lot. Like, oh my God, it's on blockchain, whatever. I don't want to deal with it. The thing is that it's a privilege of being in a developed country where you can be like, oh, whatever, because we have very good traditional banking systems. Everything moves quickly. In those scenarios, yeah, I mean, if you can afford to, if you have the privilege of being able to wait a couple of days, you have privilege of, having a bank account, your country doesn't have as much inflation, then it doesn't make that much of a difference per se. But for all the benefits we listed, stablecoins are important. But the barriers is blockchain, right? People are scared of that. Sometimes, they're like, oh, we can't call somebody and there's no recourse. And that is not always true, because Airtm, we have a customer support team. and we help to the extent we can. With blockchain, my response tends to be, in many ways, blockchain is safer than cash because it's pseudonymous. So every time you're sending money, you may not know the exact name. Like I may not see Diego Pelt when I receive a payment per se, but you have that chain address, and so you can track that for money laundering purposes and your client customer purposes, which is what we do. And we transparently work with everybody to make sure the platform is secure, safe, and when applicable, there is recourse. But that's part of the reason why people tend to be that. I would say that's the biggest barrier. And then the other barrier could be the governments don't love it. So if you stay in a country where the government is very autocratic or just doesn't love stablecoins, that can be an issue because they feel threatened by stablecoins. Their own currency, which they're not able to do a good job of managing. That's why why is there inflation up and down and crazy currency fluctuations? Fundamentally, from a financial history and management perspective, it's because the government is not able to have enough of an FX balance, or they're not able to manage their currency through global political and economic reforms in their countries to be able to offer a stable currency, which is a reflection of global balance of trade, but also in general, how well a country is functioning from an economic perspective, how much corruption there is, et cetera, et cetera. So stablecoins can be threatening, and that, they outlaw that. They don't like it. So that can be another barrier to, a fast moving tech that's slick. So that's another reason why I would say, stablecoins is going to have a hard time.
Thank you, Anahita. And I have here a very interesting question from Nuri, who is asking, what are Airtm's future plans to expand stablecoin access in developing countries, particularly in Southeast Asia?
Great question. We are looking to grow further and more. So our geographic expansion is very much a part of our plans, especially as we partner with our esteemed partners such as Populi. And as we think about where the freelancers are mostly, we want to be able to help folks like Populi, are one of our most cherished clients here, to be able to do that payment and support them. So that's part of our strategy, is to be able to align with our partners to be able to expand access. That's a 2026 initiative. We're almost, it takes a lot of planning because we like to be compliant. We like to make sure we do everything right. So that's sort of the push and pull. But we do plan to extend, especially more and more in Asia.
Excellent. And this is the last question from Hira, who is asking, if an ordinary person wants to start using stablecoins, what should be the very first step?
Go to Airtm's landing page and get started. It's a very easy to use platform. There's many wallets out there, jokes aside, that you could just, what works in your country, but Airtm is something we're familiar with. So you could just go there, sign up, you can buy and sell USDC, play around with it. And, it's fairly easy. It's very easy to use. And that's what's attractive. It's like digital dollars. You won't even know the difference per se. So, yeah.
Perfect. Thank you, Anahita. And I see there are many questions asking how to create an account, how can I buy stablecoins, etc.
I'll defer to you.
Sorry?
I'll defer to you.
Yeah, so I am putting here in the chat a link, which is a tutorial link regarding your TM made specifically for Populi that has everything that you need. How to create a link to create an account, a section showing all of Airtm's benefits, and also many how-to videos on how to create an account, how to fund your account, how to verify your ID. Everything that you need is all there. So I think that link will answer many of the questions that have popped up during the webinar today. So thank you everyone for your time. It has been great.
Likewise, thank you so much for having us, and thank you, Jesse, and thank you, Louis, for having us.
It's a pleasure. It was very educational and great to learn about the mechanism that Airtm offers to help Populi members, have more freedom and benefit from the stable coins, which is definitely something that, as you mentioned, is growing. It has a crazy adoption rate, and yeah, super grateful to have you here. And everyone who attended, who asked questions, thank you always for being this awesome, always engaged. And see you next time. Have a great rest of the day. Bye.
Thank you, Luis. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.